Russian President Vladimir Putin gave a television interview on Tuesday. He accused the Western nations of installing Volodymyr Zelensky, who is Jewish, as president of Ukraine to cover up the glorification of Nazism. Russia has accused leaders in Kyiv of being neo-Nazis. In the past, Zelensky has said that some of his grandfather's brothers were killed in the Holocaust. He has repeatedly dismissed Russia's accusations. Romania's President Klaus Iohannis has said that the attacks in neighboring Ukraine happened very close to Romania's borders. This comes as Russia repeatedly launches drone strikes on infrastructure on the Danube River in southern Ukraine. On Monday, Romania's foreign minister denied reports of Romanian territory being hit by Russian drones. Ukraine claims that Russian drones fell and detonated on the territory of Romania. U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan has said that North Korea will pay a price for supplying Russia with weapons to use in Ukraine. On Tuesday, reports surfaced that North Korean leader Kim Jong-un will visit the Russian city of Vladivostok to meet Vladimir Putin. Kim and Putin are likely to discuss the supply of weapons. In July this year, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu visited Pyongyang. Kim showed him his banned ballistic missiles in an elaborate weapon display. Russia has said that it wants humanitarian aid for the Nagorno-Karabakh region to be let in without obstacles. Tensions escalated after one road linking Nagorno-Karabakh to Armenia was quote-unquote blocked by Azerbaijan with the help of a checkpoint. Baku said it was necessary to prevent the smuggling of military supplies. Nagorno-Karabakh residents say that Baku's actions have caused an acute shortage of food, fuel and medical supplies. India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has spoken about Russian President Vladimir Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping's decision to skip the G20 summit that New Delhi is hosting this week. Jaishankar said, and I quote, "The decision has nothing to do with India. Whatever decision they make, they know best." He also said that the G20 is a collaborative forum and not a platform for power politics. Jaishankar added that India has a special responsibility in changing the world scenario. The 43rd ASEAN summit is underway in Indonesia's capital, Jakarta. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol has said that Seoul, Washington and Tokyo agree to coordinate greater cooperation with ASEAN. Meanwhile, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris have arrived in Jakarta to attend the summit. A former leader of America's right-wing group, the Proud Boys, has been sentenced to 22 years in prison. Enrique Tarrio will be behind bars for his role in the January 6 U.S. Capitol riots in 2021. This is the longest sentence that has been announced in this case so far. Prosecutors said that the 39-year-old Tarrio helped direct the attack from the city of Baltimore. More than 1,000 people have been arrested on charges related to the Capitol riot. Papua New Guinea has opened its embassy in Jerusalem. Apart from Papua New Guinea, only 4 other nations have their embassies in Jerusalem. This includes the United States, Kosovo, Guatemala and Honduras. Most countries have their diplomatic representation in Israel in the city of Tel Aviv. Hong Kong's top court has partially approved an appeal by an LGBTQ+ activist for the recognition of same-sex marriages. The ruling comes after a 5-year legal battle fought by pro-democracy and LGBTQ+ rights activist Jimmy Sham. The judges dismissed Sham's appeal that he had a constitutional right to same-sex marriage in Hong Kong. However, they gave the government 2 years to ensure that access to hospitals and inheritance could be worked on for same-sex couples. 3 fishermen were rescued after their boat was attacked by sharks in the Coral Sea. 2 fishermen were Russian and 1 was a French national. The Australian Maritime Safety Authority picked up a distress call from the 3 sailors. Their inflatable catamaran had left Vanuatu and was bound for Cairns in Australia. In climate news, African leaders call for changes to what they say is an unfair international climate finance system. This is during the Africa Climate Summit. Africa is suffering from some of the most severe impacts of climate change. However, it only receives about 12% of the financing it needs to cope with extreme weather. Millions of dollars for investment in sustainable development projects have been announced during the climate summit. African officials have welcomed the investments but called for a bigger transformation. Meanwhile, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres called on developed nations to take responsibility. This is for their role in rising global temperatures that have caused the climate crisis. The climate crisis has resulted in extreme weather conditions in Africa and other places. Guterres also called for an end to the use of fossil fuels. London sweltered on Tuesday. Temperatures went up to 31 degrees Celsius. The UK's Met Office has said that the average mean temperature during the summer was 15.4 degrees Celsius. This is around 0.8 degrees Celsius warmer than average. The current heatwave in the UK follows periods of rain throughout July and August. A storm has battered parts of Greece. A man died after a wall collapsed in the bad weather. Torrential rains have flooded homes, businesses and roads. Strong water currents dragged away vehicles in the flood-hit country. The floods come shortly after Greece was ravaged by wildfires. In Bulgaria, 2 people were killed after torrential rains brought floods. Footage showed trailers and cars in the sea after being washed away by swollen rivers. A state of emergency has been declared in parts of Bulgaria. An extratropical cyclone has been battering southern Brazil. Officials say that the number of deaths in the region has risen to 21. The cyclone has flooded homes and left rivers swollen. Videos showed houses submerged by rising water, while streets and rivers were also flooded. Deforestation in Brazil's Amazon fell by 66% in August. This is its lowest level for the month since 2018. Deforestation in the Amazon has caused the loss of many species and their habitats. It has also led to an increase in carbon dioxide emissions. Brazil's President Lula da Silva has promised to end deforestation in the region by 2030. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz condemned protests staged by Greenpeace activists as irritating. This was at Munich's IAA car show. The Chancellor's tour of the car show was interrupted twice by protesters. They climbed on top of some BMW cars, holding signs and shouting slogans. The activists were demanding additional investment in public transportation and green initiatives. The United Nations is warning against sand dredging. Dredging is the practice of removing silt and other materials from the bottom of water bodies. The UN says 6 billion tons of marine sand are being dug up each year. The UN says this could wipe out marine life. An Egyptian company has developed a biofertilizer using the black soldier fly. The insect is capable of consuming large quantities of organic residue and waste. This helps reduce carbon emissions. Its excretions can also be used as fertilizers. This is an alternative to chemical fertilizers, and they can protect the environment. Moving to business and tech news, semiconductor company ARM has begun the marketing for its initial public offering. It is seeking a valuation of more than $52 billion. This is according to a new regulatory filing. ARM's IPO is expected to be the biggest of the year. It will start trading on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange on September 14th. Goldman Sachs has lowered its probability of a US recession in the next 12 months. It now sees a 15% chance of an incoming recession. This is a decrease from a previous estimate of 20%. The bank said that this was due to continued positive inflation and positive labor market data. MasterCard has denied a media report that said it was planning to increase its credit card fees. Last week, a report said that MasterCard is planning to increase their interchange fee. An interchange fee is the charge a merchant pays to the card issuing bank every time a customer swipes their card. The report added that the fee changes were due to take effect from October. Now, MasterCard says that will not happen. Reports say Tesla Shanghai is suing Bingling Intelligent Technology. It's a China-based chip designer and auto parts maker. Tesla has accused Bingling of tech secret infringement and unfair competition disputes. The case will be heard in the Shanghai Intellectual Property Court on October 10th. Reports say Elon Musk withdrew a loan of $1 billion from SpaceX. This was around the same time he was acquiring X, which was then known as Twitter. The loan was backed by some of Musk's SpaceX stock. He bought the social media company formerly known as Twitter for $44 billion in October last year. A unit of American telecom giant Verizon has agreed to pay a penalty of $4.1 million. This is to resolve allegations posed by the U.S. Justice Department. The U.S. Justice Department has accused Verizon of failing to follow required cybersecurity standards. It allegedly failed to completely satisfy 3 required cybersecurity controls in contracts from 2017 to 2021. Chinese technology giant Huawei has filed a lawsuit with a Lisbon court. This is against a resolution passed by Portugal's Cybersecurity Council. The resolution bars operators from using Huawei's equipment in high-speed 5G mobile networks. Europe and the US have expressed concerns against Chinese involvement in critical infrastructure. They say it could compromise their security. Meta Platforms has said it will discontinue the Facebook News feature on its social media app. This is in the UK, France and Germany. It will be effective later this year. Meta says users will still be able to view links to news articles. It added that European news publishers will also continue to have access to their Facebook accounts and pages. However, Facebook will not form new commercial deals for news content on Facebook News. Malaysia is considering new rules for internet giants like Google and Meta Platforms. The country could ask them to compensate news outlets. This is for carrying out content from the outlets on their platform. Malaysia is in discussions with Google, Meta and other major online platforms over the regulatory framework. TikTok has hired British cybersecurity firm NCC to audit its data controls and protections. This is a part of the social media company's data security regime. It has been nicknamed Project Clover. As part of the regime, TikTok is also opening 3 data centers. 2 of these will be in Ireland and 1 in Norway. They will store the data of European and British users in Europe. Moving to sports. In cricket, Sri Lanka beat Afghanistan by 2 runs in the Asia Cup match yesterday. With this, they have also booked a spot for the Super 4 stage of the tournament. Sri Lanka won the toss and chose to bat first. Afghanistan were chasing a target of 292. However, they were bowled out for 289 in 37.4 overs. Australia have announced their 15-member squad for the ICC Men's Cricket World Cup. They had previously named 18 players last month but have now reduced it to 15. All-rounder Aaron Hardy, pacer Nathan Ellis and spinner Tanveer Sangha were excluded from the list. Marnus Labuschagne is also not in Australia's World Cup squad. Meanwhile, Pat Cummins will continue to lead the team. New Zealand won against England in the 4th T20 match by 6 wickets yesterday. With this, they levelled the 4-match series 2-all. After winning the toss, England comfortably registered 105 runs for 1 in the 11th over. Johnny Bairstow contributed 73 runs off 43 balls. However, he was dismissed by New Zealand spinner Mitchell Santner. Santner was the player of the match, while Bairstow was declared the player of the series. In football, the Spanish Football Federation has chosen the first ever female coach for their women's team. Montse Tomé will now be managing the women's squad. She will replace Jorge Vilda, who was fired recently. Vilda was sacked amid the ongoing kissing row that started after the country's football chief, Luis Rubiales, kissed a player, Jenny Hermoso, at the FIFA Women's World Cup. Arsenal winger Bukayo Saka has been named England's Men's Player of the Year again. The 22-year-old clung on to the award he had won in 2021-2022. Saka made his debut in 2020. He has scored 7 goals for England in 10 games over the past year. Midfielder Jude Bellingham came second, while striker Harry Kane was third. Bolivia's Football Federation cancelled 2 top tournaments on Tuesday. This comes amid investigations into alleged match fixing and corruption. The announcement came after a meeting was held with several clubs and delegates from various football associations. Bolivia's Football Federation filed a criminal complaint on Monday. It accused players, referees and officials for being involved in illegal betting, bribery and match rigging. In tennis, world number 1 Novak Djokovic is through to the US Open semi-final. The 36-year-old Serbian beat Taylor Fritz 6-1, 6-4, 6-4 on Tuesday. Djokovic is now eyeing his record 24th Grand Slam title. Next up for him is American Ben Shelton. Meanwhile, 19-year-old Coco Gauff continued her relentless victories at the US Open. Gauff beat Latvia's Jelena Ostapenko in the quarterfinals. She triumphed over the Latvian 6-0, 6-2 in straight sets. Gauff is now the youngest player to reach the US Open semis since 2001. Karolina Muchova also progressed to the semi-final at the US Open. The Czech player defeated Romania's Sorano Cîrstea 6-0, 6-3 on Tuesday. Muchova's opponent in the semi-final will be the American Coco Gauff. Indian athletes attended a send-off ceremony ahead of the upcoming Asian Games. India's Sports Minister Anurag Thakur said, and I quote, "We will ensure historic performances and return with the best medal count. I urge the country to stand behind our athletes and cheer for them." During the ceremony, the official outfits and playing kits were unveiled for the Indian contingent. India returned with 60 medals in the last edition of the Asian Games. The multi-nation event kicks off on September 23rd. In entertainment news, Skydance Media CEO David Ellison has opened up on the ongoing Hollywood actors and writers strike. Ellison said that both sides need one another to move forward. He also said that he hopes to compromise can be found so that everybody can get back to work. Hollywood writers began their strike in May. They are calling for higher pay and the regulation of the use of artificial intelligence in Hollywood. Singer Joe Jonas has filed for divorce from actor Sophie Turner after 4 years of marriage. Jonas reportedly filed for a dissolution of marriage on Tuesday in the U.S. state of Florida. He claimed that the marriage between the parties is irretrievably broken. Jonas and Turner got married in 2019 and have 2 children together. Joe Jonas is famous for being in the band The Jonas Brothers. Sophie Turner rose to fame because of her role in Game of Thrones. Actor Helen Mirren has spoken about her decision to not have children. In an interview, Mirren said, and I quote, "I had never had a moment of regret about not having children." Mirren got married to director Taylor Hackford in 1997. The couple had met in 1985 when they were working on the musical drama White Nights. French actor Emmanuelle Berre has revealed that she had to endure years of sexual abuse during her childhood. The 60-year-old has spoken about her traumatizing experiences in her upcoming documentary called Such a Resounding Silence. The actor says that her abuse began when she was just 10 years old and it continued for 4 years. Singer Miley Cyrus has revealed that she did not make a dime during her 2014 Bangers tour. Cyrus said, and I quote, "There is no one I would rather invest in than myself, so I paid for it all to make it exactly what I thought I and the fans deserved." 2014's Bangers tour was Miley Cyrus's 4th concert tour, which included 79 shows over 9 months. Actor and rapper Sean Diddy Combs will be honored with the Global Icon Award at this year's Video Music Awards. Diddy is also nominated for 4 other awards this year. Artists who are set to perform at this year's VMAs include Doja Cat, Demi Lovato and Tomorrow X Tomorrow. K-pop band BTS's member V is all set for the release of his debut solo album called Layover. In an interview, V revealed that he shot one of the songs at his bandmate Jungkook's house. V and Jungkook are the youngest members of BTS and are reportedly close friends. Rock band Queen's late singer Freddie Mercury's iconic piano is set to be auctioned. Mercury got the piano in the year 1975 after a reported extensive search for what he described as his perfect piano. The piano played a major role in making some of the legendary singer's famous songs, including Bohemian Rhapsody. Late singer-songwriter Jimmy Buffett's sister has revealed that they were both diagnosed with cancer around the same time. Lori Buffett McGuane said, and I quote, "Jimmy and I became closer because of our cancers. We talked before and after our scans. We shared a club that nobody wants to join, and I am thunderstruck that Jimmy did not make it." Jimmy Buffett died earlier this week because of a rare skin cancer. He was 76 years old. Actor Marcia de Roos has died at the age of 70. She was known for playing the role of Dr. Patricia Ludwig in the HBO series True Blood. De Roos was dealing with an illness for a long time. Her career in the entertainment industry began with her debut in 1981 with the movie Under the Rainbow.